Hey folks, and all be all here, and we're back with a strategy video this time. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but I always enjoying doing these, and it seems like the perfect time to do it, given that we've got expanded 3v3 seasons. It's the second one, but we also have JMK and Cat in the mix, which means that people will be looking for guidance on how we should think about using our GLs on offense, and I'm here to give some of my thoughts on that. This video might run a little long just because I want to go a little bit in depth on each GL and what we should be using to counter those. But I think you might like this. So let's go ahead and dive right into the video. Now, my approach on 3v3 with GLs, and this is something that I've been doing for the last few seasons of 3v3, and I've been pretty successful. I've usually gone 11-1 or 12-0 with this approach, and I prefer to keep my GLs on offense. That's basically what I like to do, and plenty of reasons for that. Especially with expanded rosters coming in, the cost of failure is really, really high. You can't really take in an off-meta counter and afford and fail, because then you'll need to go back in and take another GL, and then and you end up using a GL against that GL, and then end up wasting a lot of time, because you are in very real danger of not clearing in a 3v3 scenario with expanded rosters. So the ability to one shot is really, really valuable. Non-GL counters are not very reliable in 3v3, and you need to one shot. So that's the first thing. Secondly, the other thing I've noticed is keeping all the GLs on offense gives you tons of flexibility. And even though you don't keep your GLs on defense, if you're able to stretch your opponent's roster enough, you can still prevent the full clears. Like in the past few seasons of 3v3, I haven't kept my GLs on defense at all. Maybe I might have kept one GL at the back just to throw people off, but I have prevented full clears in almost 80% of the cases. So if you're able to keep, read your opponent and set the right defense, you should be able to prevent the full clear. Um, and then the way that I like to play 3v3s and even 5v5s for that matter is I like to use off-meta counters in the front zone unless there's a GL. Then I like to use GL versus GL. And then once I see the back zone, then I get more confidence on what I need to use my GL on. So for that to work, you need to solidify your counters to non-GL teams, which is why there are a lot of premium teams out there which are not GLs, which a lot of people like to take GLs against, like Gas, CLS, DR. So if you see any of those in the front bottom zone, you need to have some off-meta counters available to them and not use GLs if you can, because sometimes your opponent might be baiting you to use a GL over there just so that they can trap you at the back. So that's something else. In addition to the ability to use your GLs on offense, you need to be comfortable using off-meta counters against the non-GL teams as well, the premium non-GL teams. And then you have to know what works and what doesn't work against GLs. So if you're taking your GLs against other GLs, which is my preferred approach in 3v3, who wants the hassle of having to clean up a GL without, after you've already wasted one of your own, you need to basically figure out what works against other GLs and what doesn't work. There are some GLs which are great against other GLs, and there are some GLs which just won't work. So depending on what you have, what your opponent has and doesn't have, you need to decide what you want to keep on defense and what you want to save for offense, and what you're going to use to take out your opponent's GLs in case they do keep the GLs on defense. So that's what my video is going to focus on, is GLs versus GL counters, what you should take, how you should think about it. So yep, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So the way I've structured this is, and this is how I've talked about it in some of my previous videos as well. And I have the GLs on offense and defense, and I'm going to talk about each GL on offense, and then what you can do with that particular GL in case you see any one of the other 5 GLs on defense. So let's start with Ray first, for example. Now Ray, if you face another Ray, mirror matches are usually very successful in 3v3. I've had tons of success with that in the past. So Ray versus Ray, if you see a Ray on defense, almost any comp of Ray can be taken out very easily with your own Ray. If I see the Ray on the opposing team with a tank in there, then I usually use Hoda and Holdo. Holdo is more than enough for you to use in a mirror. Hoda is extremely essential in all Ray comps just because of the ability to stay in stealth. So as to not be targeted and to keep healing Ray whenever she comes down, because she's going to be doing tons of lifeblood. And Hoda is one character who can, heal even through healing immunity. So he's really useful to have on that team with Ray. I consider him I consider them a pair. Now, depending on who else you have, if you have a tank on the enemy team, I use Holdo. If you don't have a tank and you can reach the enemy Raid directly, like if they go Finn and the Resistance Hero brothers, or if they go Han and Chewie, then you can use Basti in there, because Basti can apply ability block directly on the enemy Ray if there's no tank, and she can give tons of buffs to your own Ray as well in order to take them out. And then if you see Cat over there in the enemy team, you can take SRP, Scarif Rebel Pathfinder, and Zareth has put out a video on this as well. You can basically take any tank. If Cat will usually, if you're not able to take her out early enough, she will usually take care of your tank, and you can complete the battle with Hoda and Ray. But if you have SRP in there, he'll buy you some time. He can survive one of Cat's big abilities, and then if you heal him up enough and give him Master's Training again, he can probably hang around long enough. The main thing to keep in mind in Ray mirrors is to time your ultimates at the right point of time. You have to wait for your enemy Ray to go into ultimate. Make sure that the turn meter on the enemy Ray is more than 30 or 40%, and only then you go into your own ultimate. Because it doesn't matter how much offense the enemy Ray has, whether Cat is there or not to boost her offense up. As long as you're in ultimate, when she comes out of her ultimate, she's not going to do any harm to your team at all. So that's one of the more reliable counters. Against SLKR, I generally tend to avoid using Ray if the zombie Daka combo is there. That's very difficult to target SLKR, and very difficult to take down Daka and zombie before SLKR goes into his ultimate. If any other combination of SLKR is there, then Hoda and L3 or Zalbar, any tank is perfectly fine. Preferably a pre-taunting tank, because SLKR is going to start with the poke. And then if you've got JML in there, you've got plenty of teams which can take that out. You can go, if it's a regular JML squad, then you can go in with your hero brothers. You can go in with your IG-11 and Quill. Those are excellent as well, excellent options. You can go in with Hoda and a tank as well. Sometimes you see a Basti Watt version, which is slightly more tricky, because Basti will keep healing with the bonus protection, will keep healing JML, and Watt will also keep the taunt on him. So in those cases, what you need to do is you need to take in a healing immunity, locked healing immunity with JTR and Hoda. I've actually done this once before, and it works perfectly fine. You need to time your healing immunity and at the right time, so that JML is taken out. His bonus protection gets taken out at the right time. You can even use BB-8 instead of Hoda to give additional buffs to your own Ray. That works pretty well as well. For against SLKR, against Sith Eternal Emperor teams, I prefer to solo. You usually take in a solo GL against Sith Eternal, just because he doesn't have a way to apply his link, and then you should be able to whirlwind the side characters and then take out. You'll be able to reach your own ultimate and then take out Sith Eternal pretty easily. It shouldn't be much of an issue. And then against some of the newer JMK teams, Jedi Master Kenobi teams, if they have Cat in there, then Cat is going to immediately one-shot one of your characters, and you don't want to be 3-2 down in the beginning of the battle. So there's a few options. You can take Hoda and Scarif Rebel Pathfinder in there. Scarif Rebel Pathfinder will take the hit, and then he'll get revived back, because Ray would have done her lifeblood to give him buffs. So he'll come back, and then you can continue healing him with Hoda and give him Master's Training, and then try to battle it out. cat, other option is if you've got a very fast cat of your own, you can use cat and R2D2. So the enemy JMK goes first. If your cat is faster than the enemy cat, you can then pass the turn meter from your cat onto R2D2 so that he hides everyone except Ray. And then your own Ray is going to absorb the cat ultimate, and then and then you can you can ride it out and hopefully do a whirlwind or two to take out these sides before going after Jedi Master Kenobi. The regular squad is a little more dicey. You can use your own JTR for healing immunity or BB-8 and Hoda, but I wouldn't recommend this counter. Ray versus JMK could get dicey depending on who you see on the enemy team. So at an all-up level, Ray is great against for mirror matches and versus C, but it could get a little dicey for some of these other comps that you see here. All right, let's talk about SLKR. So if you've got your own SLKR on offense, what kind of teams can he take out? What kind of GLs can he take out? Against Ray, it can get a little dicey, especially if it's an offense modded Ray. You can take Watt in there, and that will help him survive. And if you're able to time your ultimate and get enough hits out, then you should be able to do a decent job. Usually what people tend to do is they take Thrawn against Ray. And then either Hux or first order officer. So even if they see, the heroes over there, or Han and Chewie, or IG-11 and Quill, IG-11 Quill can get a little tricky, but all the others, it's perfectly fine. What you do is you go and stun the pre-taunter if he's there, or Hero Finn if he's there. Then you pass the with Thrawn's turn, you go and fracture Ray, and then try to take out the side characters, and hopefully get to your ultimate before Ray wipes out your whole team. You have to time your ultimate over here as well. Again, over here with SLKR, the common theme that you'll see throughout is he'll give you very low banners against other GLs just because the side characters will die very quickly. So I mentioned SLKR with Watt as well. If you see Cat in the enemy team with Ray, one thing which I've tested out that works pretty well is Daka Zombie. But you don't even need Daka and Zombie in there. You can even get in GBA with Soldier in there. They get SLKR to his ultimate really, really fast. So both those options work pretty well if you see Cat in the enemy Ray team. SLKR mirrors are again, it comes down to who has the fastest SLKR, who can reach the ultimate fast. You can go with Thrawn and crew if you see a zombie Daka in there. And then otherwise you can go with Hux in there if it's a plain other mirror. Again, you'll end with low banners. Against a JML team, if it's a regular JML lead team, then I would avoid using SLKR, especially if the JML is faster. You get ability blocked. If Yoda or Hoda is in there, they give plenty of foresight, and your SLKR will not be able to do much damage. So I would avoid using it against a regular JML team. But if you have the Basti Watt version, then SLKR is one of the best teams to take against it. You can easily get, just by a solo SLKR, you can easily get 55 banners against that. So yeah, avoid a regular JML team, but if it's Basti Watt, then the SLKR is one of the best options that you can use on offense. Against C, solo, just like Ray, solo SLKR is perfectly fine. You'll kill the whole team in less than a minute. Against JMK team, now this one against is very, very dicey because JMK is a hard counter to SLKR. Applies ability block on his basic JMK, which prevents a lot of this. The special abilities that SLKR can use. He prevents crits from landing, which is the main way that SLKR gets his ultimate up. So I wouldn't take SLKR against a JMK team. You probably won't have success. You might be able to get a few people down. But if you have to take, then similar to the Ray team, you can take Daka Zombie in there. You can take GBA Soldier, just so that if Cat is in there, she wastes her first hit on either Zombie or GBA Brood Alpha. So that could be one way to do it. You can try to delay as much as you can, and at least get one ultimate off so that you can at least take out the side characters, even if you're not able to take out JMK itself. The main problem with JMK is he applies healing immunity, and if you're not able to heal with SLKR, then you lose the battle. You could also try Watt Armorer, but again, that's another team which is susceptible to healing immunity, so you might not make it much over there. So that's an overall situation with SLKR. The theme that you see with SLKR is he'll give very low banners to start with. against any GL, with the exception of if you're facing a Sith Eternal Emperor or JML under Basti Watt. Apart from those two scenarios, SLKR is going to give you very low banners on offense against a GL team in 3v3. All right, let's take a look at JML on offense. Now, JML is against Cat. JML against Cat, against a Ray, you can. I wouldn't take if the Ray has got Cat in there, just because the Cat you probably won't be able to prevent the Cat revive from coming around, or the Cat whirlwind from coming around, and you'll probably lose one of your characters pretty fast. Ray also has got her own whirlwind, plus the additional damage that Cat gives Ray. If she goes into an ultimate, she will take out your side characters even if JML is around. So I would. This is a very soft counter. I really wouldn't say JML counters Ray with Cat very well. If Cat is not there, you can take in Gas and Hoda in there. Hoda just to heal up JML to keep him alive. Gas is great against Ray. He reduces her maximum turn meter, reduces her maximum health, and makes her softer for JML to kill. So if it's a regular Ray team, I would take in Gas and Hoda. If there's Cat in there, I would avoid the team just because you'll probably be taken out before you're able to get much damage done. JML is a hard counter against SLKR. The zombie Daka version, you can take in Hoda. Hoda is a great supporting character for JML, and then you need one other damage dealer. And the big damage dealers that you have as options against SLKR, Gas, JKL, Cam. All of these guys do pretty good against the zombie Daka version. You can easily get Daka down a couple of times and then just take out SLKR before he's able to do anything much. If it's a non-zombie Daka, if it's a regular SLKR with first order comp, then if there's a tank, I usually like to take in GMY and Hoda. Both GMY and Hoda are great against SLKR. They all spread foresight around, they heal, and they take tons of turns. So against a tank option where you're slightly delayed in getting to SLKR, GMY and Hoda do a great job because they delay SLKR ultimate as well. If there's no tank in there, then you can directly reach SLKR. In that case, I would take Basti and Hoda. So similar to the Ray counter to SLKR, where or Ray counter to Ray, where you're able to ability block the GL. That's the same concept over here. You take JML, Basti, and Hoda. You keep calling assist on SLKR with Basti so that she uses her ability block on basic and prevents SLKR from doing too many specials. And at the same time, you take out the enemy before they get to go, which should be pretty easy with the JML's lead ability. And then you take out SLKR preferably before he goes on ultimate. So it's a hard counter. JML should be no problem against SLKR teams. Now JML Mirror. This is where it gets slightly tricky as well. JML against JML, if you are faster than the enemy JML, then it's great because you can go ahead and apply ability block and prevent and delay them a little bit because they won't get their turn meter, they won't get their specials out, and you can take control of the battle. So if you go in with Hoda and then one other big damage dealer like Cam or GMY, I don't even think you need Jedi Knight Luke or Gas against a JML squad. Cam and GMY should be more than enough, but you do need Hoda for that extra healing on your own JML. If you are slower than the enemy team, the enemy JML, then what I prefer to do is to go in with Watt and with the damage dealer. What Watt does is he gives the tank tech to your own JML. So even if the enemy JML goes first and applies ability block, it's going to get cleansed the time that your JML gets to go, and then you'll be able to take control of the battle and get rid of the enemy fast enough. So you need one support character, either Watt or Hoda in there, and then one damage dealer, either Cam or GMY. And if you can afford JKL or Gas, those guys are great as well. But in my opinion, Cam or GMY should do perfectly fine with either Hoda or Watt against in a JML mirror. JML versus Sith Eternal Emperor, I would usually avoid just because Sith Eternal is such a hard counter to Jedi. You might be able to get the side characters down, and if you're fast enough, maybe you can get Sith Eternal down as well. JKL, Hoda, Watt are great options. JKL just to get that stun around and prevent them from taking too many turns. And you need someone to heal. So Hoda or Watt is good over there. But I would avoid this particular combination just because A, nobody keeps Sith Eternal on defense, and B, you can use so many other GLs so successfully against Sith Eternal in a solo. And against a JMK, I don't think there's any good option with JML. I've tried a few teams, but they weren't very successful at all. They, especially if Cat is in there, they make your team really, really soft with JML. So even if you get in a healer like Hoda or Watt to be able to survive a little bit, you need the other third character in your team gets taken out too quickly, whether it's Gas or JKL. He gets taken out really quickly, and especially if these guys reach their ultimate, which they'll reach really fast, it'll be difficult for your team to survive because they'll go around JML's taunt and just completely demolish your team. So I would avoid that combination. Now, Sith Eternal. Before we go into Sith Eternal, quick disclaimer: Sith Eternal is the only GL that I don't have, so I don't have first-hand experience playing with him on offense, but I have seen tons of videos, especially with my Gambit buddies, and I'm going to leave a link down below of some of those videos with Zareth or Klesso. They've done tons of good videos on all GL counters, and Sith Eternal is included in them as well. But I can talk briefly about my thoughts on Sith Eternal on offense. I think he's definitely the best GL to keep on offense. You've got if you go against Ray, he's one of the most popular counters to Ray. You can go in with Watt and Armorer or just Watt alone. And then if there's Cat in there, you need a pre-taunter to allow Armorer to survive as much. And I'll leave the link down below to Zareth's video where he's extensively tested Sith Eternal against Cat, against Ray and Cat. So that's a really good option to take against any version of Ray that you see, Sith Eternal. Sith Eternal doesn't really work much against SLKR, so I would avoid that definitely. And then against JML, again, Sith Eternal is a great counter against JML teams. You link a couple of Jedis, your JML and one more Jedi, get to ultimate, demolish them, pretty easy. With Basti Watt combination, you can just take in Watt in there, and Klesso's got an amazing video on this that I'll put down below. What you need to do is you need to get the tank tech on your own Sith Eternal if you're facing a Basti Watt team, and then put it on auto basic for about 4 minutes to allow his mastery to stack up. And once you've got a minute left, then you switch it back to auto regular, and he reaches his ultimate, demolishes a few people, and then he's very easily able to take out the JML just using his basics. So it's a pretty straightforward counter. Works in 3v3 and 5v5 against the Basti Watt combo. So check out the video from Klesso down below. If you're facing another Sith Eternal and you want to do a mirror, then just take in solo, because you'll be able to get to your ultimate, but the enemy Sith Eternal won't be able to get to their ultimate because he won't be able to link anyone. So that's a very easy solo as well. And then against JMK, this is again more testing that Zareth has done. You can take in Armorer and GBA, or even Armorer and GBA actually works really great because you can give the tank tech to your Sith Eternal, and then GBA is there to take the big hits from Cat if needed. Or the Brute will take the big hits from Cat. GBA will revive him, and you'll be able to get to your ultimate. And given the anti-Jedi synergy that Sith Eternal has, he'll be able to take care of that team pretty effectively. So you can see Sith Eternal is really great on offense, except for SLKR. He works really good against the other squads. And finally, JMK, the newest GL on the block. And you can see over here, JMK is amazing on offense, whether in 5v5 or 3v3. We've seen a couple of weeks of 3v3 with him in the last season. And against Ray, pretty easily able to take care of Ray. You can take in, if there is a, the regular Ray comp that you see out there, you can go in with Ahsoka and then one tank. It doesn't have to be GK. It can be Mace or any other tank. Ahsoka will be doing all of the damage, and then you will reach ultimate pretty fast, apply healing immunity, and take the enemy down. If the one thing to keep in mind is that the enemy Ray is going to be doing a lot of whirlwind, so you need to time the damage immunity on your own tank at the time that you feel Ray's ultimate or whirlwind is available, which is why I typically like to go with a slow Galactic Republic Jedi tank in that squad. I don't use my GK over there. I've used a mace modded for almost no speed at all, like really less than 200, maybe 180 speed or something like that. If you've got a really tanky mace and really slow, you will be able to keep the damage immunity on him for quite a lot, and all the rays whirlwind will not do anything at all, and you'll be able to take down the side characters, and then you'll be able to take down Ray ultimately. If the Ray has got Cat in there, then the cat is ultimately going to reach their own annihilate ability, and will take out your tank regardless of whether they have damage immunity. So you need to counter that with by either taking out their cat fast if they don't have a tank, or if the cat is hiding behind a tank, you need to, if you have your own cat, you can take that in with R2D2. The way that you do that is you make sure that everyone is hidden except for Jedi Master Kenobi, and then with your cat you can remove either the enemy cat, or you can take out their tank and then reach cat, and R2D2 will ensure that you're at least hidden from the enemy cat's annihilate ability. Against SLKR, again, JMK is a hard counter. It doesn't allow him to reach his ultimate very fast. So you can take in, Ahsoka, and Ahsoka, I always feel is great with JMK on offense, just because all of her assist abilities allows him to reach his ultimate really, really fast. And I like GMY in there with JMK on offense, just because he has the foresight, which does great against SLKR. And sometimes if you can also take Cam in there. GMY and Cam is a great option as well. Cam does great amounts of damage. It does the armor shred, and can take care of SLKR pretty fast. So either of these options works great. Ahsoka, GMY, Cam. I don't think you need to waste your gas in there, especially if you're going against SLKR. Any of these other supporting characters will do just fine. And then against JML squads, Jedi Master Luke squads, if you're taking your own JMK, if you're faster, then it's pretty easy. You spread the foresight out so that Jedi Master Luke's big efflux ability does not affect anyone. Everyone evades it, and there's no ability block which gets applied. But if your JMK is slower than your enemy Jedi Master Luke, because these days a lot of people tend to put a lot of speed on Jedi Master Luke, so if he's slower, then I would take Ahsoka and Cam in there, or any other, or GMY and Cam. And the reason for that is if you take in JMK, Ahsoka, Cam, or GMY and Cam, there's going to be all Galactic Republic Jedi, and Cam is going to give them an extra 30 speed bump, and that's going to allow your Jedi Master Kenobi to go before the enemy Jedi Master Luke, and then you can do the foresight ability to make sure that efflux doesn't affect you. So that's how I would handle this team. Use Cam in there if you're slower. Otherwise, any two damage dealers should be fine against Jedi Master Luke. Against Sith Eternal. Now, Sith Eternal is a hard counter to Jedi, but with the JMK on offense, I think you should be able to take the side characters out early enough, even with your regular squad, and then take care of Sith Eternal. What I would do actually, and I haven't tested this out, but in theory, a solo JMK should work as well, because that prevents your Sith Eternal from getting to ultimate. And what you can do is you can keep using the healing ability. You can keep applying healing immunity on everyone, and you can get once you get to your ultimate, you'll have enough mastery to take down the enemy sides soon enough. And without the Sith Eternal Emperor going into ultimate, I think JMK should be able to get the job done with his healing immunity ability especially. There shouldn't be much danger without an ultimate Sith Eternal, and especially with the healing immunity, I think we'll do just fine with a solo. But there's no way to know unless you've actually tested it out. And then in a mirror match, a JMK versus JMK mirror match, if there's no cat in there, then just an Ahsoka and a tank should be fine, or an Ahsoka and a damage dealer like GMY or Cam. But if there is cat in there, then you need to make sure that you have your own cat to be able to do this counter. You need to have your cat faster than the enemy cat. That's why I've put tons of speed on my cat for 3v3, because that's extremely important going up against a JMK cat mirror. What you need to do is you need to take a you can make it a 2 by 2 battle if you go in with a tank and cat, but the smart way to play this would be to take in your faster cat, take in R2D2, and then both the JMKs are going to give their special ability to their own cats. Then your own cat, since she's faster than the enemy cat, she's going to go next. What you're going to do is pass the turn meter on to R2D2, the Sheehan onto R2D2, so that he gets to take a turn. Hide everyone except for your own Jedi Master Kenobi, so that when the enemy Ahsoka goes and does her special, that will not do much damage to your own Jedi Master Kenobi. And then with your own cat, you can then take out either the enemy tank or the enemy cat. And then it'll be a 3 versus 2 battle, and then it should the battle should go pretty simple enough after that. You should be in control after that. So that's how I would handle a mirror battle. If you don't have cat and the enemy has cat, then I would not use a JMK. I would then use a Sith Eternal, for example, if you see that particular combination. So that's at an all-up level. I know this is quite in-depth, but I wanted to give a quick summary of the whole thing before I end the video. Because what you'll have to do is you'll have to take a look at your opponent's roster, see which GLs they have and which GLs they don't have, and then decide what you want to save for offense, what you can afford to save on defense. Those are the kind of decisions that you'll have to make, seeing what GLs your opponent have. If both of you have got 5/5, then it's a no-brainer. I would keep maximum 1 GL out on defense and keep other 4 on offense. But if you see that your opponent is missing some GLs, then you need to make a few decisions. So, for example, Rey. Let's take a look at an all-up level how Rey performs. Rey does pretty average on defense. She's she can give problems to JML squads or SLKR squads, but she can be taken out very easily in a mirror, very easily by Sith Eternal and with JMK. So 3 out of the 5 GLs are going to have no problem at all in handling Rey. So I wouldn't keep Rey on defense unless you see that your opponent does not have an enemy, their own Rey or Sith Eternal or JMK, or they like to keep their Rey on defense and they don't have a Sith Eternal. Only in those cases I would keep a Rey on defense. Otherwise, you can see over here, Rey on offense is really only great against other mirror match Reys or against Sith Eternal, as a solo. Otherwise, Rey typically tends to give lower banners or is not as effective against other GLs. She's only effective against Rey and SLKR, Rey and Sith Eternal. Now let's talk about SLKR. Should you keep him on offense or defense? I think SLKR is definitely an offense guy, because if you check on defense, he can be taken out pretty easily with JMK, which people mostly might keep JMK on offense, or even the JML squad, which most people keep on offense as well. Both the Jedi GLs take out SLKR pretty easily with very decent banners, and Rey can work it down as well as a mirror match. But if you see on offense, that's actually one place where SLKR doesn't shine as much as the other GLs, because apart from Sith Eternal, which SLKR can take out for really good banners, and apart from the Basti Watt squad, all other cases SLKR is going to give you really bad banners against another GL, 46, 47 usually. Which is why SLKR, if he's kept on offense, he's usually used against other non-GL counters, like tough teams like DR or Gas or something else like that. And you use other GLs versus your other GLs that you face on defense. So SLKR is one of those squads that if you keep on offense, you usually save him for the back to see what other squad he can take out for cheap. If you decide to keep him on defense, I would keep him at the back, and only if your opponent does not have one of the Jedi GLs, for example. Then in that case, SLKR is a great team to keep on defense, just because he'll either give you low banners with an enemy Rey or enemy SLKR, or if the enemy has a Sith Eternal, they won't be able to do anything to SLKR as well. So that's the summary for SLKR. Now for JML. JML is flexible. You can keep him on offense or defense. If you keep him on defense, then he gets taken out pretty easily in a mirror match or with Sith Eternal or with JKL. So Ray also can probably get him down pretty easily, but might lose some banners. But and and SLKR also. Um, SLKR, I think, is the only GL who will probably struggle against JML. Otherwise, he gets taken out relatively easier by other GLs. So the only way in which I keep my own JML on defense is if I somehow see that my opponent does not have a Sith Eternal or SLKR, or if they like to use the Sith Eternal SLKR in the front zone, then I like to keep the Basti Watt version of the JML squad at the back. After I make sure that I exhaust my opponent's counters to that team in the front. The Basti Watt team is another team which, if you don't have the right counters against it, you can probably you'll force a double shot against that. So that's something which you can probably do if you want to keep JML at the back. Otherwise, yeah, JML can be taken out pretty easily by 3 out of the 5 GLs at least. Sith Eternal is a very interesting GL on offense and defense because if you see over here, Sith Eternal can be soloed if he's kept on defense. So he's a really weak GL to keep on defense in 5v5 in 3v3, especially if the opponent is taking a GL against that. Apart from JML, all other GLs can solo it mostly. If you also see in the row over there, Sith Eternal does so great on offense. I mean, apart from SLKR, Sith Eternal does a really good job against all the other GLs, provided you have the right supporting characters. That's why Watt, Armorer, GBA, all of these characters are so important to give support to a Sith Eternal in case you take him for offense. So Sith Eternal is one GL that I would strongly recommend that you keep on offense just because he provides you so much flexibility in order to take out any of the enemy GLs. With the exception of SLKR, Sith Eternal is going to do a great job against all other GLs and you'll probably end with decent banners as well. And just because he's so easy to take out on defense as well, I would not keep him on defense. And then finally, GMK, being the newest GL, he does great on offense. You can see he can take out almost any team pretty easily. So personally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if my enemy has got JMK or not. If he does have JMK, I'm going to keep my own JMK on offense. But if he does not have JMK, or Sith Eternal, or if I'm able to exhaust the Sith Eternal in the front, then I'm definitely keeping my own JMK on defense because you can see over here, both Ray and SLKR may struggle if you keep if you keep your own JMK, especially with Cat. JML is not going to have a good time at all against JMK. So depending on what your opponent has and what they like to use in the front, a JMK Cat team at the back can prove to be extremely effective. But I will probably keep my own JMK Cat on offense if I see that my opponent also has JMK or Cat. That's how I'm going to think about JMK over here. So that, in a nutshell, is basically my thoughts on GL versus GL counters. It was a little bit of a long video, in depth, but I think I might have missed quite a ton of things as well. Couple of disclaimers. These are obviously my thoughts based on my experiences. So your experience and your roster might be different. Feel free to leave comments in the comment section if you see if you have different experiences with any of these counters, or if you have new ideas that you want to share with the community. The second point I'd like to make over here is these counters that I'm putting forward right now are pre the changes. Before the changes, there are changes coming through which will impact all of the GLs, and a lot of these counters might be affected as well. So in the next month or two, these counters might work for 3v3. But I have a guess that before the next 3v3 season, in 2 months' time, the changes will definitely be in by then, and I might have to make a revised version of this video. But until then, at least for this season of 3v3, this video probably might be relevant. All right, so that's it for me. Hope you guys found this video useful. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you'd like to see, any other specific strategy videos. And I enjoy making these kind of videos. And if you guys like it as well, feel free to leave a like down below, leave the comments, and I'll see if I can make more of these kind of videos in the future. All right, thanks for tuning in. All the best to all of you for this new 3v3 season. Catch my own GAC streams. I usually stream my whole battle after the fact, and I record commentary. So definitely join me in for that. And looking forward to sharing my 3v3 experience with you guys later. Take care and happy gaming.